2012, World Financial Group merged Transamerica, making us the sixth largest broker dealer out of 8,000 broker dealers here in North America. I know, pretty amazing, right? But we didn't stop there. We went for number 6, number 3, and I'm proud to announce for the past 2 years we're number 1 in growth and sales revenue. I think that deserves a great round of applause. So as a female representative for this agency, I'm even more proud to announce that we have the most female reps. I think that deserves even bigger round of applause.
Absolutely.
I don't say any of this to impress you, but really to impress upon you the tremendous business opportunity that you have with us here today, and to help me tell you about who we are and what we do. A wonderful gentleman. For the guests here this evening, you heard a little about who he is. 20 plus years as an engineer. Wonderful man, senior marketing director, makes multiple 6 figures here with this firm. Has another agency up in Temecula as well, and I believe a few others throughout the country. It's pretty amazing. Built himself a huge organization. Help me introduce Jorge Kalamar. Alright, so in just a few moments, the person I invited you here this evening will escort you back to the presentation room where you'll hear who we are and what we do. But for right now, if you could just silence your cell phones in respect of my speaker here this evening. And a personal favor, this company really changed my husband and my life, and it'll do the same for you, but you have to keep your best eyes and ears open. So have a wonderful evening and enjoy the presentation.
All righty.
Alright, so you can take a seat in here. And,
You might need binoculars back in there.
Yeah, move to the front, move to the front.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jorge.
We're not selling nothing, so don't worry. It's almost like a career seminar. How about that?
Sounds good.
That might give away money. Okay. Oh, I'm getting recorded. So I shouldn't. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, welcome. Thank you for dedicating your time on a Wednesday evening. Probably all of you come out of work probably pretty tired. So my job here is to impress you. How about that? Okay, not to sell you nothing. It's to impress you and make your time worthwhile, I would say, right? We're a huge company. Some of you might recognize the name. So I'm going to show you a little video. The video might sound a little bit as a commercial, but at the end mostly because I emailed this video to other individuals who might be looking into our career. But what is good about the video is history behind it. It set up a little bit the stage for what I'm going to explain to you, why it's so important of what we do here today, in this industry, and where we're expanding and who are we looking for. So after the video, I'm just going to give you a little bit background on myself, and then we'll get into the details. So something I'm going to teach you maybe about finance that maybe you didn't know. So hopefully you go home with something you learned today. And after that, we're going to cover a little bit the career opportunities with us. How about that? Cool? So just relax and enjoy the presentation.
World War II has just ended. Invigorated by victory overseas and a rebounding economy, the U.S. experiences a historic surge of births. 92% of all women who can have babies do, averaging just under 4 each. 10,000 babies born every day. 4 million a year. 76 million over 2 decades. Dwarfing the generations before them, the baby boomers are the lifeblood of America. Industries are challenged to meet their overwhelming needs. Diapers for 76 million babies, bicycles for 76 million children, cars for 76 million adults, homes for 76 million newlyweds. The baby boomers begin having their own children, Generation X, numbering more than 82 million. Like the boomers, Gen Xers grow up in an era of domestic prosperity and stability. The stock market trends consistently upward. Recessions are short-lived. Market losses are quickly regained. As the baby boomers and Generation X take command of the corporate world, the post-World War II generation begins retiring. The market continues its steady climb, rewarding those who buy and hold investments. Little financial education is needed for retirees to enjoy a busy life. They simply follow the proven three-legged stool of retirement. Grow savings in the market, live off Social Security and company pension checks. It's a reliable, hands-off model used successfully by millions before them. Work hard for several decades, then the market, the government, and your company will one day take care of you. For those who follow the model, retiring at 65 is a time to slow down, relax, and enjoy time with the family. Just 10 years after retirement, retirees of the post-World War II generation begin to die as they reach the average life expectancy of 75 years. The baby boomers begin collecting inheritance as Generation X sends their children off to school. The U.S. economy has never appeared stronger. Prosperity has never felt more assured. Opportunity has never seemed more abundant. The future for the current generations has never looked brighter. The three-legged stool of retirement will take care of today's generations, just like it did for previous ones. Markets will continue to climb steadily and grow their wealth. Social Security and company pensions will provide a reliable income when paychecks stop. The easy life awaits. Baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials have every reason to believe it will all be theirs at 65. Unfortunately, they couldn't be more wrong. Over the following decade, two monumental events will reach their tipping points, transforming the economy and society. A revolutionizing economic shift and dramatic life-lengthening advances in science will reshape the future for everyone in America, leaving millions in desperate need for a new way forward. These events will mark the end of how our nation built wealth and retired, forever. The first of these two events emerges at the threshold of the new millennium. After decades of steady trending growth, a volatile turbulence rocks the stock market. During this period of ups and downs, two of the market's greatest declines in history have engulfed investors in the perfect storm. The economic calamity rises to its peak during the Great Recession. Millions of fortunes are lost. Countless nest eggs are broken. The timing for the nation couldn't have been worse. The massive baby boomer population begins reaching retirement age in the midst of the economic tempest, completely unprepared. For many, an entire decade of market gains are gone. 2 out of 3 baby boomers are not confident they have enough money to live on. The harsh reality? They must keep working and find a way to protect and grow what's left of the money they have. Generation X is in the middle of their career, while the millennials are just starting out. For these young generations, the financial future is an uncharted wasteland. For Generation X, salaries are not keeping up with inflation. Over 40% have less than $50,000 saved. About 30% have no savings at all. Millennials are in worse shape. 35% more millennials than baby boomers have financed their education through student loans. With the burden of student loans and a scarcity of jobs in their field of study, few millennials are saving for the future. Along with personal savings, the other two legs of the traditional retirement stool continue to crumble: Social Security and company pensions. When the baby boomers were born, there were 45 workers for every retiree collecting Social Security. Now it's less than 3 to 1, an unsustainable ratio that calls the future of Social Security into question. Though pensions were declining before the Great Recession, the corporate world has now all but abandoned them. Colliding with the economic devastation is the other transformational event. Advances in medicine, nutrition, and technology have stretched the average human lifespan beyond 75 years, adding an additional 2 decades or more. Baby boomers and following generations can now expect to live well into their 80s, 90s, or longer. Seemingly a blessing, this new expectation poses a terrifying threat: the likelihood of going broke in old age. 61% of people are more afraid of outliving their money than dying. An unstable economy, an unreliable market, the collapse of the old retirement model, the financial burdens of a longer life. It's the end of wealth and retirement as we know it, and with it, a new beginning. Yesterday's financial models may be gone, but prosperity in our nation is far from over. The realities challenging today's generations have triggered an unprecedented wave of financial activity, with billions of dollars and millions of people on the move. This wealth wave has ushered in the greatest economic story of our time. The leaders of the financial industry will position themselves to serve baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials by redefining how wealth is built and how people can thrive after 65. Tens of thousands of new financial professionals are needed at a time when their ranks are aging and their numbers are diminishing. Someone must respond to this critical need with a new wave of financial professionals for the future. That someone, that wave, is us. We are responding to this crisis with our biggest expansion in 3 decades. Only 4 states in the U.S. offer a financial education in public schools. Our nation has paid the price. We offer an unparalleled financial education to those who have never been exposed to such essential concepts as the Rule of 72, the power of compound interest, and the impact of losses and taxes. We give families a safety-first approach by helping them protect their income and their future with financial vehicles designed for the realities of today. Our associates present families with insurance products that have evolved to offer a wide array of benefits like tax-free income and long-term care protection. We provide a world-class wealth management platform that offers everyday investors a financial game changer, access to active management strategies that were once only available to the very wealthy. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, we open the doors for anyone, regardless of their age or experience, to become part of the wealth wave by building their own financial services business. Behind our team is a world-class financial organization. Their entry-level leaders, many part-time, with full licensing, average $80,000 per year in earnings, with the highest exceeding $640,000. Associates at our top executive positions are averaging almost $900,000 annually, with the highest earning over $7 million this year alone. Our business is an entrepreneurial opportunity with no boss, no salary caps, no required work hours, no layoffs, and no limits on how much you can earn or how fast you can grow. You can earn more income from your own efforts and from those of your team, and you can earn income from products that produce first-year and recurring revenue. It's a business that can give you the three things you may have thought you lost forever: the chance to make a difference, the opportunity to build personal wealth, and the hope that your later years will be lived on your terms. Regardless of your age or experience, this could be the right business at the right time for you. Few opportunities give you the support of some of the financial industry's strongest and most recognizable names. Put your company's history, experience, and reputation behind you and become part of a championship team. In this new frontier of wealth and retirement, baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials all around you need a financial professional with a way forward. If you're seeking an opportunity to redefine your future, consider our team your new beginning. The time to respond is today. Contact the person who referred you to this video, and let's explore the future together. Experience the full presentation in our feature video, The Greatest Economic Story of Our Time.
By the way, I know what you're thinking. The little fine print that is coming out behind anything in this presentation is being checked by federal regulatory agencies. So everything that I show you might be a little bit exaggerated, but those are actually true figures. And I'm going to explain how we calculate those income, crazy income, because I know what you're thinking. Oh, yeah, right. You know? Well, I'm going to show you how those people actually made that kind of figures. But let me get into the presentation in a minute. Okay, cool. Coming? There we go. So, first of all, I gotta apologize a little bit. I have an accent. I'm from Argentina. I grew up there, you know, and even though I don't look Latino at all, right? Even though I'm fluent in Spanish, so I can prove it to you. Actually, both of my parents are Hungarians. Now, what the heck Hungarians are doing in Argentina? Well, unfortunately, you know, World War II happened, you know, and from 1941 to 1945, Europe became a big mess. They lost everything that they had. So both of my parents actually migrated. They met in Argentina, actually. So I was born, so blood-wise, I would say, yeah, I had the European look because I'm pretty much blood-wise Hungarian. But I grew up in a third world country. And because of that, I kind of like shaped my idea how money works a little bit. In the wrong way for some aspects, but also in a good way. I mean, like, save money, don't get into debt. Because in Argentina, you can't. There's no bankruptcy laws down there. You go bankrupt, you know, you still owe the money. You know, it doesn't matter. For the rest of your life, unless you leave the country, and that's not the reason why I'm here. Okay, so, but that's the thing. And you can't carry balances on a credit card. First of all, I never knew what a credit card was good for, other than traveling, because at the end of the month, I always paid it off, you know. And then I realized when I came here to the United States, I compared my credit card here to the credit card I used to use in Argentina, and the interest rate in Argentina is 45% annual rate on a credit card. So, I mean, can you carry a balance on credit card like that? No, you go broke very quickly, right? So I learned a little bit how money should not work for me in an aspect that I shouldn't live on borrowed money. I was lucky that one day a big company here, General Atomics, right here around the block away, actually they used to be, offered me a position, as an engineer to come work here. I was thrilled because what we hear about the United States is stable economy. Let me give you an idea of what not stable economy looks in a third world country that you might not know. 1 month in the 1970s, the inflation rate was in 1 month 300%, meaning like you got paid on the first of the month, and then the price of gas or milk or water or food tripled by the end of the month. But the following month, you didn't get three times your salary. You're still getting the same amount of money. So it was a huge struggle. Can you imagine raising a family in a country like that? I mean, salaries never keep up with inflation in those places, right? So we got to learn how to do two jobs, three jobs. I mean, it was crazy stuff. Now you come here to the United States, everything is smooth. Depressions here are a joke, really, compared to other countries. And then all of a sudden, like myself, I find myself in a panic mode a little bit when I hit age of 41. Because why? Because I had, yeah, a nice home. I had two German cars on my driveway. I had very little savings, and everything I had was bank money. Really, I couldn't call anything mine. Even though we say, yeah, I don't know how you tried to refinance a home one time, and you fill up in a form and said, do you own or rent? Or yeah, right? And I said, how about neither of the two? Because yeah, you call the owner, but it's 100% mortgage, right? So what do you own really? Nothing. So so kind of I panicked. I don't know if you ever tried, but I went online to these retirement calculators websites. They're free, and you just plug in your age, how much money you have today, and how much money income you make, and it tells you by the time you retire, usually at 60, 65, how much money you need to extra save today if you really want to retire with your income, and then factor in Social Security and everything, right? I was 41 when I did that, and that was 10 years ago, by the way. So if you want to know my age, and that number for me was shocking. That was 2,300 bucks a month on top of what I was already contributing to my 401k plan. So I said, "Wow, can I go to my boss and ask for a 2,300 bucks raise?" I mean, really, that was pretty much 50% of my salary back in the days. So, I mean, what'd you do? What would you do? Second job, right? You gotta find another job. Now, can you show me anywhere I can make 2,300 bucks extra beside a full? So I was having a full-time job. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning in Temecula, driving to San Diego just to be here at 6, and then get back home after 3:30, leaving here probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. So what can I get? Where can I work beside that to make another 2,300 bucks? Not too many options, right? Not really another degree in school. Going back to school to get another degree, it won't help me. I got a degree by there. That's what plan A, right? The degree got me a 3% raise, which wasn't anywhere near the 2,300 bucks. So I got to do something else. I was introduced to this company, and I was really impressed for two things. One of the things I'm going to show you today was about the coaching that they gave me in regards to my money. Most of you think that a financial advisor is somebody like an attorney, right? That you got to pay money to get advice from. Wrong. That's the first misconception that most people have. You should always consult a financial advisor. They don't charge you for their time. Unfortunately, the big financial advisors that you might know or you heard, like a Charles Schwab or a Fidelity or a Merrill Lynch, unfortunately won't talk to you unless you have $250,000 ready to invest. Anybody here? No. Okay, there you go. So this company allowed people like you and me to get into this industry to help people like you and me. Why? Because what Merrill Lynch is a small account because it doesn't bring enough revenue to them to pay for their fancy offices in La Jolla. The revenue that we bring in for us is a lot of money, and it helps us both ways. We learn and we help other people to learn. Cool? So that's a little bit about my story. Now it's been 10 years. Yeah, I'm the branch manager. I train a lot of agents, and I switched careers at the age of 41. So if you're wondering, can you switch career at later age? Yes, you can. And we have a very good program for that to transition. And the reason why you see most people different careers is because of, have you ever heard any career at any university that is to form a financial professional other than managerial finance for a company, where you manage the balance sheets, right? But how about personal finance? There's no career for that. So we have to attract professionals from many different backgrounds. We're scouting all the time, trying to attract people so we can form our own professionals. So it's great that you have your own background education because that's add up to it. It's diversity, it's richness. When we try to match up a client with, so if I have a client who is an engineer, who are we going to send? Somebody who is a former engineer, maybe, right? Somebody retired military, we're going to match them up with somebody retired military, so they can relate and connect, and then talk about educational stuff. It's not really sales. So anyway, let's get into the company now. I was 41. If I was considering a change of career, I want you to think about this. You want to work for a very reputable company, right? Which had longevity also. Like, we're going to be in business for a long time, right? You don't want to quit a job and work for a new company and then that company potentially going out of business, right? So one of the things I want you to evaluate, I'm going to help you with this, is who we are and how long we've been around, okay? And how big we are compared to other companies you might know. So number one, this company, Transamerica, most people recognize it, big tower in San Francisco, you saw the video. But Transamerica and all the sister companies I own by this company called Aegon. Now, Aegon is a huge firm. Most of you are not familiar with it because it doesn't deal directly with consumers. It doesn't have a product that you will see advertisements or commercials on TV. But it's a big player in the financial services industry. Now, 10 years ago, when I was sitting in your chair, I was looking into how big Aegon is. Now, are you guys familiar with a magazine called Forbes magazine? They kind of like every year around April, they kind of release an edition where they list the top 100 largest companies in the world, right? So guess what? After hearing this presentation, I went and I looked it up and I compared these to other companies that I might be a little bit more familiar with. Now, this number is a little bit outdated because this is from 2012, but this company in 2012 had $500 billion in assets. So if you go to that Forbes magazine and you look at the asset column, you see Aegon with $500 billion. Now, that's a big number, right? 500 with a bunch of zeros, if you know what $1 billion is, right? That's nowhere near my bank account size, but it's a lot of money. But it's compared to what? So how about if we do a little homework here, which I did for you, but let's see if you agree with me. Would you work for a company like Coca-Cola? It's been around for a while, right? Sure. Do you see any country that doesn't have that drink? Today's day, maybe there's one, but I don't know. Do you think it's going out of business anytime soon? Because people are not liking Coca-Cola anymore? No, not really, right? So I don't care if you like the product or not like the product, but if they offer you a good job with a good salary, would you take it? It's a good transition, right? You can build a long career in Coca-Cola. Pepsi-Cola, same thing, right? Okay, so now we got two companies out of the way. How about BMW? Not because I drive their cars, but let me tell you one thing about a BMW. The logo that you see, the little, two-color thing, actually is a propeller spinning very fast. That's the image that the propeller does, And that's because BMW originally manufactured engines for airplanes, and they were very well known for reliable engines. Rolls-Royce actually beat them into the commercial airline later on. So they dedicated cars, but they have a longevity, good company. Would you work for them? Sure. Mostly if they give you a discounted car, right? So not going anywhere. Right now we're going electric, whatever. Number four, actually, Dell Computers. Now, Dell Computers, I picked these Dell Computers for one thing. It's a fairly new company. Would you agree? Hasn't been around for 150 years, right? It's been around for a long time, but not as much as Coca-Cola, right? But let me tell you why I picked Dell. I don't know if you know the story about Dell, but Michael Dell was a college dropout, surprisingly, right? But you know what he did? He actually went to companies like Hewlett-Packard back in the days, or IBM, the big computer monsters, and he said, hey, the hard drives that you're not using anymore because you already went to a bigger size, faster, whatever, but they're brand new and you have it in stock, why don't you sell it to me cheaper? And the same with the motherboards, same with all these, because computers were actually progressing very quickly. But what he wanted to do was put computers with maybe not top of the line parts, but something that middle income people can actually afford. Otherwise, today, a desktop will cost you $10,000, for example. It's just pretty much. You got it for 400 because of a company like Dell. We started lowering the prices and created a huge company for them. I liked him because he focused on middle income America in exactly the same bracket that we are focusing here. And lastly, Disney. Why Disney? If you look into the history of Transamerica used to be a bank in the back in the days. You heard about the very first earthquake that hit San Francisco. An Italian guy named Giuliani, which is the founder of Transamerica, was a banker and he gave out loans. But also, one of the first loans he gave was to Walt Disney to produce his first movie. So Disney, as a company, was kind of like has a connection with history. And then regulatory agencies came on board and said, hey, insurance and banks could not be the same companies, and two companies departed from it, Transamerica and Bank of America. That's where they all came from, you know? So now totally independent companies, we're not even related, you know, they're Bank of America is a publicly traded company, we're still under Aon. Now, if these five companies that I just mentioned to you, you know, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, BMW, Dell Computers, and Disney were up for sale based on their assets, right? Aon can buy all five of them, and we only use half of this money. So, you know, those companies that you agree with me that you work for, Aon is 10 times larger. And they've been around for also 150 years, you know? Number one, if you go to Europe and then you go to Amsterdam, you'll see Aon logo all over the place in the airport. So they sponsor soccer teams and stuff like that. Now, another thing that I kind of caught my attention when I was sitting in your chairs was this slide. Now, do you recognize any brand here? Yeah, a bunch of them, right? Who recognizes something? Nationwide, I know, right? Or LifeLock, right? Pacific Life, ING, now today is Voya, you know, Allianz, Prudential, and many companies. And this is just a few of the companies we represent. What that means? It means two things. You heard Transamerica has their own insurance products, right? And retirement investments. But how come we have other companies here? Because what Transamerica Financial Advisor is trying to do here is not to be a monopoly of the product. So we are not only offering to our clients our own brand, we are working as a consultant almost, right? So I sit next to my client, let's see what they need, and we can shop around and use any other brand, doesn't matter, because we get paid from these companies, never from the client, and I get paid no matter, we get paid as a company, no matter which product we use. So that makes me unbiased, isn't that right? Because let me talk about, let's talk car insurance, because that's where you recognize these names from, probably, commercials of car insurance, right? So if you talk a nationwide guy, can the nationwide guy tell you that Allstate may have a better product for you? He can't, because he's captive with Nationwide, right? And he has to tell you that, likes it or not, that Nationwide is the best product. You know, believe it or not, otherwise he needs to change jobs. But we are kind of like a Walmart, put it this way. A broker dealer in this industry, it means like a Walmart of financial products. So in our shelves, you see all these products. I don't care which product the client prefers, Walmart makes a profit. Transamerica makes a profit. But what it makes to me is I don't have to push anything down this throat to the client. You know, I can pick whatever the client feels more comfortable with. You know, so I'm not forced. And I got a lot more to choose to. So now, you heard me talking that the major difference between us and other companies are who we serve, right? So you see that most of the Merrill Lynch, Charles Schwab, it actually focuses on family Bs, which are the wealthier, which are honestly looking for 6-figure and above in income. Unfortunately, only 80, actually less than, I don't want to lie about a figure, but it's about 10% of the population that makes only $100,000 or more, sadly. So who needs the most help, you think? People with less income or people with more income? With less income, you know? Hey, don't be afraid. I mean, there's no wrong answers here, okay? So there's no, I won't grade you or anything like that. So this is not an interview process, by the way. So we focus on these. Now check the difference out. Just because there is an income difference, there's also other major differences. Most people who are making less than $100,000 a year, they don't have an advisor and they don't have a plan. Is that true or not? Most people don't, right? We mostly put money in the bank, right, as our savings. I'm going to make you change that opinion in a minute about that. You know, we don't have, well, you heard a little bit about the video, but let me give you more statistics about life insurance, you know, which it's a sketchy subject, right, for some people. Only 30% of the population has. Out of the 30% of the population, 60% of those people who say that they have life insurance, they don't have the right amount or the right kind for what they need. Okay? So there's a huge, but now let me tell you, why is these people have the opposite, have life insurance, but on top of that, they have permanent life insurance? Let me explain you one thing. Do you rather pay for something that you're never going to get something back, or very likely you're not getting something back, or you rather pay for something that for sure will pay back some chunk of money? Option two is the best way, right? So now, the typical life insurance, the cheapest one that most people get is what? Called term. Now, the problem with the term is that nobody dies in term, right? Only 3% of the people who own a term insurance ever cash any amount of money out of those, because it's protection for, and the maximum year that you can actually have a term, that you can afford a term, is actually up to age 80. Past that, companies don't issue term insurances, right? Now, where most likely you're going to pass away? Before 80 or after 80? Today's days is very likely after 80. You saw in the video, advances in health, and medicine. Think about this. I don't know, think about your parents or your grandparents. When your grandparents had your age, how many LA Fitness were around? Think about their diet. What were they eating? What were they smoking? How much they were drinking? Aren't we a little bit different, more health conscious today's days? That adds to longevity, which actually brings a big issue for Social Security. We're draining Social Security money. We're living way too long. Social Security was designed for you to be 6 feet underground at the age of 67. That's why you're so much in trouble. How many people that are passing 67 and living a lot longer? Well, there you go. So we got a problem. So now, are you going to live forever? No. So now we have we don't have the date actually, but we have an event that for sure is going to happen. So if I'm going to pay for life insurance, when is your family getting the benefit of your life insurance? When you do what? When you're done. So why would I get something temporarily that I might never happen? I paid a fortune out of the window and my family never benefited of that. So needed or not needed, if I can afford it, wouldn't you want to leave behind more money? There you go. You have an event that you can bank on. And smart people do it. And now middle income families can afford it too, in a way that I'm going to show you in a minute. Middle income families, hard on credit cards, right? We used to use it as an emergency fund. Not anymore. Because now, when you lose your job, guess what credit card companies do? They lower your limit because they can run temporarily. This is something that you don't know, probably. You know that credit card companies can run credit checks when you would call soft credit checks for employment purposes. They want to see if you're still employed. And if you're not, your credit limit starts going down. Why? So you don't rack up your credit cards. You don't live. That's not welfare. That's not unemployment, vehicle. And they limit you so you don't get in debt, because most of us, we walked away from credit card debt, didn't we? Right? Look at how much happened when the real estate market started dropping. So that big problem. Today's days, most of us are renters, because now you got to come out with 10, 20% down to buy a house. And have you guys seen the commercial of HR Block throwing the money from the back of the plane? You know what that means? I don't know if you catch what that really means. What that means is that most middle America are not claiming enough tax deductions. We're leaving money on the table, into the IRS table, for actually, speaking. So we teach through having a financial professional how to take more advantages on some tax deductions and keep money on your side, not on the IRS table. IRS is not going to return it to you. It's like, hey, Connor, you forgot to deduct your student loan. Do you want it to? I mean, it's $1,000 back to you. They're not going to do that. If you didn't deduct it, that's your problem. They're not going to tell you. But if you owe, they're going to call you very quickly, right? So there you go. So this is the major difference. So why we need to serve this population bracket and not what Merrill Lynch's and Charles Schwab are really focusing on. Now, let's talk about the bank. Now, have anybody heard Rule 72? Anybody in this room? No? You? Okay, Connor. Good job. So, good. Good. Now, let me ask you one thing. Why is it so important? I'm going to teach you something that will, honestly, from now on, you will apply probably. Hopefully. Let me ask you one thing. Does interest rates really mean something to you? Yes or no? Good. But let me prove it to you that maybe it doesn't give you enough information. Let's say, Jay, there's no wrong answer here, okay? So don't worry about it. Just say what the first thing comes to your mind. If I give you $10,000 today and you invest it at 4% a year, can you tell me from the top of your head, without using a calculator, how much money you will have in 20 years?
It's 4% a year?
4% a year.
Compounding.
Compounding.
I don't know, 15.
There you go. That's it. Leave it there. I don't know. That's the answer I want to do here. Neither do I. It's hard to calculate. Can't do it. So now, 4% really didn't give you a lot of information. Sounded pretty good though, but it doesn't give you any information. Now, check this out. Applying Rule 72. The only thing you need to remember is the number 72. And if you divide that number 72 by 4, the resulting number, it tells you how long you have to wait to see your money double. Now, you know that that's 18. So now you're saying that at 4%, my money could double in 20 years. You know, approximately.
Right.
But now it gives you, so now you said, shoot, I can't wait 20 years. I should be retired in 20 years, right? So there you go, 4% won't work for you. So now by looking into this, now you're going to feel sick to your stomachs when I compare it to your saving account. How much are you getting paid on your saving account?
0.01%.
There you go. You're totally right. 0.01%. 72 divided 0.01, that's 720 years. Anybody will be around 720 years from today? I know you're one of the youngest ones. Are you planning to leave 720 years from today?
I'm gonna try.
You're gonna try, right?
Why not?
Hopefully I'll be there with you. But you see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. Why do they call it saving account? Who are you saving for? Really? That money is not growing anywhere. Actually, you're losing money. You think that you're not, but you're losing. What's the inflation rate? Anybody? About 3%? You know what that means? That what you're buying today, you need 3% more to buy the same thing next year. Prices of things go, like gasoline prices, right? So if your money is not growing at least at 3%, you're losing money. So your saving account should be called actually lose your money account, or give your money to the banks for free account, because it's really not saving account. Would you agree with me? Right?
Yeah.
So from today, there you go. Tonight, your time was already worthwhile. Your saving account doesn't help you at all. Now you know something else. So even at 1%, money takes 72 years to double, really. So if you get anything below 1% or below 3%, it's just like move your money out of there because it's not helping you at all. You will all agree, right? Now, at 4%, well, we agree that it won't grow very quickly. 18 years is 18 years. I mean, think about it. You're 40. How many 18 years do you have, really, on your side? No, and if you are 20, you only have one more, than 40, right? So at 4%, really, if your money, now, sadly, how many of you have a 401k with a company that you work with? That's the average your 401k is making after fees. Look closely. Bring it in here one time with the person who invited you, and we show you where the money goes. And now take aspirin before, so you don't get a heart attack here. But you're not making a lot more than 4%. So now you know that your money is not growing very quickly. So how many of you can retire on $40,000? No one, right? Not even if I go back to Argentina. That's not a lot of money. But then you think, well, Jorge, just because you're telling me that it's $10,000 to start with, that's a lot of money. Well, how about if the problem is where it's growing? Because look at that, 2% more. I'm going to give you 2% more. Let's see how much this number changed with just 2% more. Now, I'm not talking about 8%, just 6. Look at this. At 6%, now money doubles a little bit faster. How you come up with that? 72 divided by 6 is 12. Simple math, right? And after that, if you start 29, every 12 years, the money doubles. In the same amount of years, starting with the same amount of money, just 2% difference doubles your money. That's compounding effect. Of course, you can't touch it. What happens if you touch it? Well, you get penalized if it's a 401k, but your money that is not growing, interest, right? You're spending it, they're going to affect this calculation. Now, this is where you should be at, 12%. Now, I know that for you guys, maybe 12% in the market, it sounds something ridiculous. But if you are working with investors, let me tell you what the CEO of a company is looking as a profit margin for a large company. 14%. They're happy. Shareholders making 14%, they party. Okay? That's the minimum. And they make a lot more, but that's the minimum. So 12% for a middle-income family should be where you have to try to make your money to grow. Why? Because it grows at very fast pace. Now, let me tell you one thing. $640,000 might sound a lot of money, but it's not actually. If you take $32,000 out every year, so you hit 65 with this money and you take $32,000 out of it, right? Like 2,500 bucks a month. You run out of money in 20 years. So now you'll be 85. What about after that? Are you going to be dead at 85? Very unlikely today's days. So you guys are going to run out of money. One of the things that financial services does is avoid that problem. There's vehicles that you can grab $640,000 and it will guarantee you 30. Heard the word guarantee, which not being used a lot, very often in this industry, will guarantee you $32,000 for the rest of your existence. And if you leave some money behind, because the rest of the money could be invested, then you leave behind to your children. But if you run out of money, the company will still pay you $32,000. Now, $32,000 is not a lot of money. But what's better, little money or no money? Little money, right? And so something that you can never outlive is 10 times better than running out of it and living a little bit larger before. Cool? So now you learned a couple of things, right? Rule 72, you're not going to forget it. When you look at your saving account, you're going to puke over it, right? And you're going to hopefully move your money out and put it somewhere else if we call it savings, right? And we're going to show you that. Now, let's talk about taxes. Who loves taxes here? Anybody? Nobody, right? So you probably choose, if you had to choose between these three columns, where would you rather be? In here, or there? Never, right? Now, realistically, can you never pay taxes? No. There's one taxes that you cannot avoid, which is what? Your income taxes. You make money, from the first time you receive that income, you got to pay your income taxes. But whatever you do with that money after, you can play with these three columns. And this is the important stuff. Now, what attacks me now is that if you put your paycheck in this great savings vehicle that I showed you right now, that is going to give you a 1099 at the end of the year for $9, right? Because that's all you made, right? You got to pay taxes on that $9. Same thing in your checking account. Same thing if you play in the stocks, with an Ameritrade account or whatever, right? Any gain that you make with your after-tax money, you got to pay taxes again and again and again. So you don't want to be here. Now, you heard about these 401k ones. A few of you had a 401k. Let me tell you another thing. You really you feel sick of your stomach for your saving account. Maybe you're going to feel sick of your stomach about your 401k. One thing that they don't tell you is the little tax surprise that are going to wait for you at the end of the time that you stop contributing to that when you retire. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that we're farmers, right? And we are going to grow corn just for fun, I don't know, right? So what do we need as a raw material? Seeds, right? So let's say we go to the store and we buy a huge bag of seeds, 1,000 seeds in it. Every seed is a penny. So the whole bag is worth what? $10, right? When you go to a register, there's a guy there who is representing the IRS, and it tells you, Clifton, we give you two choices here. Either you pay 30% taxes on this $10 bag, or save those $3, right, which is going to be 30%, save it, spend it on something else, plant the seeds, make it grow, and when you sell now your $1 million harvest, we'll tax you 30% on the million later on a larger amount. What do you rather do? 30% on a million or 30% on $10? There you go, right? Well, unfortunately, when you put money in a 401k or in a SEP IRA or into an annuities or a saving in bonds, anything, all those vehicles are going to be taxed on your harvest. Doesn't make any sense, right? Now, there is an option today in your 401k that you might not know, which is called this Roth 401k. If you see it in your company's benefit plan, not all companies offer it, choose that box, because that's exactly pay taxes on the seeds and not on the harvest. But if you don't, unfortunately, your money is due for a big taxation when you pull it out. Sadly. See, now you learn another thing. If you have an option, here we give you options. Unfortunately, when you go to work, how many options do you have? None. That or none, really. or your saving account, which today, that it's not going to work too much, right? So this column shows you the Roth IRA. Now, unfortunately, let me ask you one thing. Have you ever thought about what wealthy people do with their money? I mean, huh?
They swim in it.
They swim in it, right? Okay, that's a good one. I haven't seen it, but yeah, I can picture it. Yeah, something I got to try that. So think about this. You're an employee but there's a company always have a CEO. Could a CEO make $500,000 a year? Sure. Now, do you know that the 401k plan has exactly the same limit to contribute to it, you as an employee, or the janitor, or the CEO of the company? They all have $18,000, 500 today's days, maximum contribution. Now, for you, it might be a lot of money. For someone that makes $500,000 who needs to save a lot heavier than you to retire with that income, $18,000 is too small. So one of the things that brought me into this company was like there must be something else out there that I don't know, that pretty sure has some tax benefits that these wealthy people are using. It's just nobody's telling me because I don't talk to the right people. Why? Benefit department are not licensed professionals. They're employees just like you are when you work in a company. You just handle the benefits department paperwork. They can't give you any advice. That's why I say, here's your enrollment packet, figure it out, call Charles Schwab. I don't know. Don't call me. I don't know nothing about it. Other than you might ask the janitor, say, hey, where are you putting your money? Oh, at these. Who told you that? That guy who's an engineer. He probably knows what he's doing. And everybody follows advices from each other. And that's when 2008 hits, and all of us will lose all money together, right? So, kind of intriguing. But what the wealthy people do that probably you didn't know is they invest their money in these two products. Now, this is a piece of advice. Every time you hear investment, this is what you need to know. You can lose money. How many of you likes to do that? Anybody here like to lose money? None of us, right? But investment always comes with a risk. So it could go up, but it could go down. Here, what they show is that this is a tax saving vehicle. We're not talking about that you cannot have market risk. Now, if you don't want to get into the market risk, then you need to pick this little guy, IUL. And if you have something to write it down, research it, or talk to the people who invited you today. Because this is the main key why I'm working with this company today. Has tremendous tax advantages, just like we said, pay the taxes on the seeds, not on the harvest. You can access to the money. But most of the thing, what I like about it is that I cannot lose money. The money that is saved there, that actually is exposed to some of the market gains, has two limits, right? Has a roof and a floor. So the market has 30%, good for the market. The products that we offer gives you a ceiling, we call it, of 15%. So you can make up to 15%. In the market has 30. Now, in the market has 12, you get a 12. In the market has 11, you get 11. 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 15. Now, sad, right? Hey, I want a 30. But do you want also the losses on the market? Like 2008 market, you saw the graphics on the video. Nearly 54. Do you really want that? So you have $100,000, lost 54%. You have 46,000. Can you swallow that? I don't know how many people had a heart attack on that, but that's, well, here, you still make, in these vehicles, you never lose what you made last year, and you still make 0.75%, almost 1%. So tell me that's not what middle America needs, who have no clue about how to invest in the market. Not only that, if you access money in a 401k, they charge you a penalty, like you said. If you're below 60, and plus taxes if you make it as a withdrawal, not a loan. Here, you can take money before age of 60. The loans don't carry that interest that you pay here, which you don't pay yourself, you're paying that company that gives you that money. And here is more flexible, no penalties. And also, if you put enough money here, you can actually live off that money to supplement your retirement and never pay a dime on taxes. And when you die, everything else, plus the life insurance that comes with it, that's why it's a life insurance, leaves it tax-free to your beneficiaries. This is how wealthy people has been transferring wealth from generation to generation that you didn't know. But you can access it too with your little money because it's scalable. That's the cool thing about it. Cool? Wow, got you. I woke up some of you. Okay, so I'm impressed. Impressed you so far? Somehow, give me a notch. Okay, cool. Now, how we put it together? We put it together as a little plan, very simple. Kind of like, this is something that you have to have. What we call a dream map. Think about this. If you want to go from San Diego to New York, right? Beside your phone and a GPS, what else you need in the old times? A map, right? Without that, it will take you, would you agree that it will take you a lot longer? Or sometimes you will never make it in your lifetime. If it takes you really long, you're going to be cruising to Mexico rather than to New York, right? By the time you find out, you're in Argentina and you are 90 years old, right? So the dream map makes a shortcut. It's a step-by-step, plan, put it that way. So there's two things that I need to know. I need to know how much rent you make and who is eating it. Bottom line. Once I know these two and I manage it, these 4 other steps are all covered by the little IUL. Look at that. Simple stuff for middle income people. 1 vehicle, 1 plan. You don't need living trust. You don't need attorneys. You don't need a will. You don't need nothing. Why? Because you can access that money, right? Remember? So if you put enough money to have at least 6 months of income, you can access that money without any penalties, right? Proper protection, because I told you, it comes with the life insurance. Accumulates money, so it's professionally managed where you don't lose money, and hopefully you're outpacing inflation. By the way, those products been averaging about 9%, conservatively speaking, which sounds pretty good. Do the math. So you do divide by 9, it doubles every, I think, almost like 10 years. Cool. And then reducing is a preservation of assets, because when you pass it to your family beneficiaries, it's absolutely tax-free. And this is what, now, a sophisticated high net worth individual might require other vehicles, but for a single family, middle income one who doesn't have a lot of money but needs all these put together, the IOL is the perfect solution. Cool? Do you agree with me? Kind of? Maybe? Okay. Cool. So let's talk about business now. So now you guys got very impressed with that video of where this income's coming from. For some of you, some of you here are probably clients, or maybe somebody who works here invited you over just to see this presentation. Maybe you know somebody, or maybe you want to become a client of us. But some of you might be looking into a career opportunity just like I was, or something to make extra money. How many of you will be okay making $1,000 extra? Right? Hey, why not? I was making $85,000 as an engineer, and $1,000 extra. You know what it would give me? Give me a nice car payment that my wife cannot complain about. How about that? Like, hey, honey, how about if I do something extra besides my income that pays all the bills, and then I buy the car I want? How about that? I don't touch the family budget. Cool, right? And then you ladies, how about $1,000 extra for some shoes? Not, I say shoes because purses could become a lot beyond $1,000. Would you agree? Okay. So how about 2,000 for those? Cool. Now, so that's what I want you to think, right? This industry cannot provide a lot more for that, but this is what we're looking for. I want a little bit of your time to help a family and make some extra money. How about that? Just what I needed, $2,300 on your own time, around your schedule. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to kind of go through this quickly because you saw a little bit of video, but we know that we're targeting 78 million people. Why is so important that? Because any company in the history from 1946 on that figured out what these 78 million people wanted become very successful. An example, let's say that you have a huge company that manufactures pencils. Let's say we sell this for $1, right? You have 78 million children that need pencils. If they all buy, let's say half of them they buy, that's still $36+ million. Anybody complain about $36+ million extra? No, this is good money. So that's why $78 million diapers. 78 million diapers. Every time that the babies need how many diapers a day? 4. That's a lot of diapers. So companies jumped into what? Manufacture diapers. Now, these 78 million people were growing out of diapers. The diaper industry started to slowing down, right? So then you moved into, so that's why companies like Gerber figured out the baby food, which is really what? Smashed vegetables in a jar. Your grandma used to do it for you, by the way, right? So now Mattel Toys figured out the Barbies because the 78 million population was mostly females. Who was that? Fast food? McDonald's. Let me tell you about McDonald's. How many of you like McDonald's? None of you? Okay, good. I like that. But would you like to own one? Do you think it's profitable? Do you think that the McDonald's owner makes some money in the McDonald's? Do you agree with it? They make about, in average, $250,000 a year, $250,000. How many of you would like a $250,000 income? Now, how many of you have $1 million to buy one? And right now our dream just went out the window, right? Now I want you to hold that thought. But why McDonald's worth $1 million? Think about this for a second. It's a restaurant, kind of, right? Fast food restaurant, systematic. Sandwiches always the same. McDonald's, a Big Mac here and a Big Mac in Florida will look exactly the same, right? Now, a Big Mac in Paris, which I tried it, yeah, killed me. I went to Paris, I went to McDonald's. It won't taste the same. Actually, it tastes horrible there. But here in the United States, same ingredients. That's the idea, duplication. Now, think about this. If McDonald's is a restaurant, do you see a chef in the kitchen, or you see 16-year-old kids flipping burgers? That's why it costs $1 million. You know why? In business, unskilled labor to a profitable business, that's gold. You don't need a chef. A chef will cost you a lot of money, right? And if he quits, big trouble. 16-year-old quits, how many of you can find? Quickly. And then you put him in the kitchen and say, can you read? Can you see? There's a picture there. See the pickle go on top of the burger. Can you do that? Good, you're hired. And you make money. That's why it costs $1 million. Because somebody created a system that you can use it with very no skill. It's all procedures, and you can duplicate it anywhere. You open a McDonald's anywhere, there's actually, statistically, there's one every 4 miles. Never die of hunger here, right? You can walk 4 miles in average, right? So, cool. Now, the other thing about McDonald's, you know that McDonald's owns today more real estate than the Catholic Church ever did? Because if you pay them $1 million, you don't own the property. They do. You're just borrowing it for 30 years. It's a franchise fee. And there are prime locations, right? So can McDonald's really go broke? Even if nobody buys the burgers, it sells all the properties and still make gazillions. Worldwide, by the way. You know, they operate the same way. Now, a little history. Chrysler was about to go bankrupt until somebody, sadly for men, invented the minivan. Gosh. We all hate it. We all end up driving it. I did. Hawaii, 2014. Kids give me a hard time with that. I had to drive it back. So is it not needed? Why? Because 78 million kids, they need to go to soccer, you know? And station wagons were not big enough. Minivans. Chrysler not only survived almost going bankruptcy, record sales in the history of the company up to that point. Real estate and now retirement. Why retirement is so important? This is the wealth wave that we're talking about. How many of you ever switched jobs? You did, right? You have to move your 401k plan when you do that? Most of the times you do. Sometimes you don't know you do, but because they can't get a hold of you after that. But you cost money to the company if you leave your 401k there. So they want you to move it up. You know, like just move it to an IRA and just move on, right? That's called wealth transfer. There's money on the move all the time. The more the time that people switch jobs, the more they need help to move that IRA somewhere. Because hard saved money, right? You don't want to lose it. So it has to be continuously managed until you retire. Who helps you with that? Your bank? No, really. That's why most of the times you change jobs and money sits there. Eventually the company will put it in cash and won't manage it anymore. Now you're losing money. You're not losing value, but you're losing purchasing power, you know? So that's where our job is so important. Not only with the IUL to save money in taxes, but with anything that affects your retirement, you know? So we started opening offices everywhere, and this is 2010. We have a lot more offices. We have about 1,600 offices, but we need more. Just give you an idea. Last statistics I heard was that in New Mexico, there were like 3 offices of Transamerica, but there were like 400 offices of Century 21 selling homes. Who do you think that middle-income people needs more? Real estate agents or somebody advising them how to save more money? Because that's the biggest damage we do here. We protect your family and we force you to save money if you follow our directions. What's wrong in any of those two? I don't see anything wrong with any of those two. I'd rather do that than sell you a vitamin juice, right? You're going to live long anyway. Just watch what you eat. Avoid McDonald's, for example. Right? So, how we get paid? Let's see for a part-time income that you might be looking into until you progress into a full-time position with us. Let's start, with 1 foot at a time, right? Getting the knowledge. Nobody wants you to quit your job. Do something extra. So how about if we say we help a 40-year-old male, typical client here, that can save $185 into an IUL product. So now this is an individual very likely putting $185 into where? 401k plan. Who's employed or has to be employed. I mean, if you're not employed, you're not saving money. Okay, so yeah, this person is employed, probably has a couple of kids, maybe owns or rents a house. Typical family unit today's days. Could be younger, but 4-year-old is our average customer. Why? Because when you're 35, you're not thinking really about saving money yet. At 40, you're panicking. At 30, you're partying. You know what I'm saying? So, in today's days, you know that marriage actually happening a lot later than used to. You know, people staying single a lot longer. Have you noticed that? Not everybody's coming into a family yet. You want to know why, most likely? Finance. Male and females are panicking about how we're going to sustain a family. Living alone is one thing. Living in a family and having kids running around now becomes a serious matter, right? You just can't go blow money away. You have to be serious. You have to be, can't take risks, right? Isn't that right? So things change. 4-year-old man, 185. Is that a ridiculous amount of money? No? Average people can do it. That's $92 and a half per paycheck if you want to do it that way. Okay. If you help an individual put 185 bucks into an IUL, which will come with insurance, all the tax benefits, all the secure of mitigating market losses, and these guys sleeping at night knowing that he can lose money, and you help 4 families, you get paid $4,000. How about if you help 1 family? That's why I said 1,000. That's 1,000. Now, how about if the person puts twice as much money? Twice as much. How about half? Half. So it doesn't matter. It's proportional to what it. Now, think about this. And I was super smart when I was. Okay. But let me tell you one thing. How come I get paid $1,000 when somebody pulls 185 bucks? Where is this money coming from? I'm asking the question like it was for you, because I know it's going through your mind. If it's not going right now, it's going to go in an hour. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. How we fabricate $1,000 from 185 bucks? That's why it's another proof that the client doesn't pay us. Because I mean, do you know anybody who will pay you $1,000 to help them save 185 bucks? I don't, right? None of my friends or family, right? So there you go. Who pays us? The companies on that first slide that I showed you, the Prudential, the Allianz, the Annuity, all these big companies. Why? Because are you going to put one time 185 bucks, or are you going to keep putting 185 bucks for the rest of your probably working age? That's the thing. They're going to make the money later on, just paying us in advance for bringing the client to them, which is the toughest thing always to do. Companies can come up with products. How they sell it to people, that's another story. They need people showing to people. So if we get excited about it, we train why this product, how it works, there's a whole training purpose on that, why it's so exciting, why people, how many of you heard about the IUL before you came here? None of you. There you go. So now, if you go to somebody you know with something that they never heard about, will you impress them? Very likely. I mean, and somebody say, hey, or you rather go to any of your people that you know and tell them something that they already heard a million times. So say, Victor, you came all the way to my house just to tell me something I heard on the TV a million times. You wasted my time. No, man, I'm here to show you something that you probably never heard. I say probably because once in a while somebody already. Actually, there was a lady who used to have one. Husband, check this out. True story. Husband died, left her an IUL. She didn't know what it was. She was struggling with money. Called me out. I got referred to that appointment. Went in. Her daughter was just about becoming 18. She wanted to do something special, a little trip, to Europe. She didn't have the money. Mortgage was killing her, whatever. And they said, okay, show me everything you have. And then I came out to the question and said, do you have any life insurance protection? Yes, yeah. That's been taking care of my husband before he died. Told me that always keep paying these $135 a month on this policy, so I think I have the protection. I said, well, do you have the policy? Sure. She brought me the policy, and it was from a company I wasn't very familiar with, so I had to take it with me and call the company. It happened that she had almost $500,000 saved in that policy. Besides the life insurance protection, that $135 she's been putting it for so long, husband before her, that she had $500,000 that she didn't know that she had. So it's like, okay, how about if we pay off your car? How about if you pay off your house? And she still has like 300,000. Take the 10 grand, take your daughter to Europe for her senior year. Problem solved. Look at that. That's the power of that IUL. That person knew it. That's why I said probably, because some clients might not know they have it, but they have it. Few of them. So this is pretty cool. Help one family $1,000. Help A. You hear the clapping here, kind of like, because we recognize people who actually got clients. And you'll hear there, if you decide to work with us, that this number is actually per week. Some of the people, Now, you heard that I was introduced as what? Senior marketing director, fancy title, whatever. The only thing different is that I proved the company to get paid a little bit more doing the same work. I proved the company that I can grab 10 Connors and convert them into a financial professional where he can go out and help families, without me being there. I got to prove it to the company 10 times and they pay me more. Look at that, big deal. Right? Now, how many of you has any, I ask you, but any supervision that you supervise people, or you were a coach or team leader, or anybody? Just you and you and you and you? Come on. Can you handle 5 agents? You and 5 agents. You be the broker, let's say. You'll get experience. You become a senior marketing director, right? And you manage and coach and train 5 people. Not 10, 5. Could take you a year. I don't know. How about 2 years? Okay. Let's say 2 years to do that. Okay. So here comes the McDonald's solution. If you are a marketing director and you have a little, kind of like a real estate organization, right? You're the broker. You have 5 agents that you find and you train. So you pick who you want to work with. We don't assign it to you. You said, you know what? I don't like Kalamar, but I like him better. Sorry, don't take it personally. But just an example. Yeah, I can choose him to work with. Cool. So you pick who you want to work with, and all of you does this. Let's say we're all hard workers and we help 1 family a week, in a weekend, a Saturday afternoon. I don't know. Pick the day, right? You could be making that much money. How it works? Well, very simple. The company, every time that you bring a client like this, let's say I brought in 4, or my branch brought in 4 clients. So the company pays me $7,100. Pays me, and then I say, oh shoot, okay, whose client was this? Oh, it was Clifton clients. Okay, Clifton, how much you make? 4 grand. So I out of my $7,100, I pay you 4 grand. Me as the broker, who keeps what? 3 grand. That's how real estate works, right? The broker makes more money. Why? Because it has a bunch of agents, right? You can have a limited amount of agents. I just show you something to make a little extra money. For some people, might not be for all of you, but for some of you. So if I don't work, I make 23 minus 7, I still make $15,000. If that's good enough for you, stay home. Just train agents. At the beginning, I did that work. Today, I do this work without me out there. I stay home with my kids. Take them to Disneyland or do their homework. Disneyland once in a while. Do their homework. It's tough. I hated it sometimes, but I was there. I don't know too many parents that could stay home and make an income. You know what I'm saying? That was my motivation. I want to be with my children. I know sometimes I wish I could strangle them. I went through that for parents. You know what I mean. But hey, you're there. And some parents were jealous of that. Man, I wish I could be there and not take care. This could be a way. You don't have to make the millions and gazillions of dollars that the video showed. You can make little money, but it's scalable. Connor might have bigger ambitions than you, and then you, and then you. That's fine. Everybody's sizing up. Now, what about, Jorge, what if I never want to leave my other career? Can I stay part-time here? Yes, you can. Can I work a month and then I might have to get deployed because I'm military and I won't be gone for 6 months? I'm getting fired. No, you won't. There's no quotas here. We're not the Merrill Lynch's, the Charles Schwab, the JP Morgans, the Wells Fargo banks. They're hard push, and no, we're not. Do we make cold calls? We don't, by the way. Now you wonder where we get our clients. How many of you wonder that? Where are we going to? Yeah. It was like, okay, you should have asked, Well, let's see. What you would not do? Do you like knocking on doors? Not me. Cold calling, buying leads. Don't have any money. So how about training other people? This is the thing. It might not be. Sometimes somebody dragged you here. Be honest, right? Somebody dragged you here, right? But sometimes we get people that wants to come in here. I was one of them. I wanted to get into this industry, right? I was lucky that this company had the doors open. So now, how do I learn? I'm a trainee now. Somebody has to train me. So do I know a few people? Sure. Now, if you want to practice something, because you're not a professional, right? Do you want to practice with a stranger or do you want to practice with your best friend? You practice with your best friend. So let's say Clifton is your best friend. So you're now working with our company, right? So I'm the broker. So, okay, I'm going to train you. How do I train you? Well, let's go practice a presentation and whatever I'm teaching you with him. Why? Because we can tell him that this is a practice thing. Now, if he wants to become a client, so he's interested, we'll take care of him. But at least we can tell him without pressure on you that you are new and you're training and you're learning. So if she makes a mistake and I pitch him, it's okay because you are her best friend or uncle or father or sister or whatever. So we use a little bit of at least 10 people that you know, right? So now you're practicing, but what I'm doing, I might be training you and maybe some new sales come out of that because he might be interested. You know what I'm saying? So how do I get my clients? By training new people constantly. And that train never stops. Why? Because this company brings on board about 100,000 people a year. You know how many appointments that generates? More than we can handle. So now this is the process. So I train, we practice with him. Eventually, you're going to say, Jorge, I don't want to hear your annoying voice anymore. I got this. I can do it on my own. As we went through these friends and family, we were asking one thing that most companies don't ask: referrals. So Clifton, did you like this? Sure. Is this for you? Not right now. Who do you know that needs to hear this? Oh man, everybody needs to hear this. Can you give me a couple of names for her so she can go in once she's licensed and on her own? And there you go. So every appointment for the last 10 years I went in, never was a stranger. They already knew what I was there for, and they knew one of the two. Either the person who referred me or the person that was sitting right next to me. So it was never really a sales environment. I never had to be afraid of. I just do a presentation. If you're interested, we can discuss it some other day. If you're not interested, thank you for your time. Who do you know? And we worked away with a couple of people. And that way, all these, I sit down with people from the other industry, Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch, and whatever. They don't do that. They rather call. I just brought in a new guy from Merrill Lynch. He was let go. He was fired because he failed to bring in $10 million of new money in a year. Cold calling people, finding people who have cold calling strangers and finding out if you have $250,000 that you're willing to invest with a stranger that just called you. How brutal that is. It's horrible. And they don't get it, that if they would open the doors to other people like you and I, that we would like to make some extra money. We know some people who will take your appointments all day long. I didn't know anybody. You heard that I'm an immigrant, right? How many people you think I knew when I started the business? None, really. 10, 12, the most. Good enough. Because I practiced with those 10, 12. And then after that, I started getting referrals and I started also training. Let's say Jay came on board. Now I'm going to train him. Now he knows a lot more people than what I know. So now I get my referrals and his market, and then we can work into a broker-agent relationship. So if I'm a broker, I run out of appointments, guess what? What do I find? A new trainee. And now I have a bunch of appointments. Run out of those because he's already working on his own, have a new trainee. By training new individuals, teaching some people how to make money. It's very rewarding. Hey, if he makes $1 million one day, something he can't take away. I taught him everything he knows. You can't deny it. You don't learn it from anybody else than me. So that actually, I made in this company already in my 10 years, I made some successful folks, that they make a lot more money than what I'm making today. And I'm not jealous. Actually, I'm proud. These people were not making the money if it wasn't for me. Look at that. They were about to lose their house in Lake Elsinore. They were selling Verizon wireless phones. Today, they're almost $500,000 income earners. Hey, like it or not, one day they might think, thank you. Okay, so cool. So now, we do a lot of recognition. Yes, we're big on this. So if you like to have recognized, do you remember last time you got recognized at your company for anything? I never, in my 22-year career, never. But here we do rings, watches, the company does trips, conventions. Last convention just happened, 45,000 people in Las Vegas. So we're growing. We're going to be a very powerful name. Other companies start hating us because we're growing very quickly. So anyway, there's still room for plenty of people. Your options. Number one, for the person who invited you, Sit down and ask them how this IUL will work for me, whatever. Find out more information. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. It's no obligation of any kind. That's why the person invited you would be the best person for you to find out. Not only that, you will see what exactly you will be doing if you decide to take a career with us. Number two, start part-time. How many of you have a cell phone? Would you like to write off your cell phone bill from taxes? Huh? There you go. Start part-time. Even if you don't make a dime, just by having a part-time career, a self-employed career, anything that you spend, it's a deduction, other than shoes and clothes. Unfortunately, I don't know why. But you can deduct everything that you use for a business. I need to buy an iPad. Deduction. So you can buy it with your tax money. I need to buy a new phone. Tax deduction. How about your car payment? Would you like to deduct your car payment? Use the car for this business. Go on appointment, every month you do, it's a 62 cents deduction, I believe. I'm not sure about that, but it's almost right. They vary every year, So, I write off $17,000 of my income every year on the use of my car. So my car is getting paid almost out of taxes, out of that tax savings, that if I don't have the deduction, I will be paying that to the IRS. Again, having a coach of money tax, that's what part-time. And also, not only a tax benefit, but hey, you become a licensed professional, you will know more stuff. I mean, honestly, it's something that looks pretty good on your curriculum as well. You work for a big company, or with a big company, I would say. Number three, become an owner. This is the McDonald's option. Honestly, for a few of you that want to take that challenge, is the transition. How quickly can you get it? It's up to you. You can work part-time for 3 years and come full-time. You can come full-time in a week. We coach on that. We'll tell you what's each person is different, so we will tell you based on your specific circumstances what's the best way to come full-time. Is there a benefit to coming full-time? Oh, yes. All of these. But mainly, I like to talk about bonuses. How often you get a bonus at work normally? If you get any.
Once or twice a year.
Once or twice a year. There you go. This company pays bonuses to the senior marketing director, so you got to become a broker to get a bonus every single month. How the bonus works in this company is really, really cool. We get paid out of the gross profits of the company. Every month, this company is close to about 100 million. I think we're a little bit over, but we're $100 million every month in gross revenue. And 7.5% of that money gets split out between the brokers as a bonus. If you divide it equally, which is not equally, it will be like $7,500 each. Not bad for a bonus every month, But some bonuses could be really heavy. I've seen bonuses about $70,000 in a month. I see bonuses about $2,000 in a month. Still bonus. That's what actually made me transition into a full-time career. That today you can call it I'm a business owner. There's also an ownership program beyond these. So let me tell you one thing. If this sounds good so far, when you get involved, you're going to find more and more and more that's going to make it even better. It's too much to cover in the little hour I have here with you guys, So if this piques your interest, this is what you need to check the box in the paper I'm going to give you in a minute to say, I want to know more. I might be interested. You don't have to make a decision right now. But if you want, that's fine. You could go through the interview and move on, Trust me, you're not going to regret. Is it easy? No, nothing is. If it would have been easy, everybody would be doing it, right? But let me tell you one thing. It's simple. That's the key here. It's not easy, but it's a simple process. You can do it. Trust me, you can do it. Any of you, if you give me your time and you commit with some time, I'm not going to make you a millionaire overnight, but if you give me some of your time and you commit with me to work, give me 10 years, I'll make you a six-figure earner for sure on residual income. But you got to give me 10 years. Now think about this. Can you work 10 more years to your career today and walk away and still make six figures? That's what I thought when I was 41. Because imagine now, I'm 51, an engineer, stop working, I don't make six figures, I make zero, right? But here, I made a wise choice. Wasn't always easy, but it was simple. And I just kept at it, and I built up an income that today, I have the ability to enjoy. And I'm not a millionaire. Now, some people made it a lot faster. You read the person who you might have the chance to talk to, He's doing it a lot quicker than me. I'm giving him a couple of years, he's going to surpass my income by far, maybe. So everybody works at their own pace. Doesn't matter. If money is not your thing, great. Make it and give it away. How about that? Really? I told you that we have a foundation that's all for one. There's a guy whose wife is Filipino, and she created a nonprofit organization and donates a ton of money and goes to the Philippines and helps the poor, building schools and whatever. So if it's not for you, money is not your thing, which I understand and respect. Give it away. You have the chance to make it. Some other people don't. Cool. So that's it. Tremendous potential. This company is growing. I mean, you got a big company that is pouring millions of dollars to make this platform work so well for you. You have no overhead. You can have a company that is high in revenue and you don't pay a dime in payroll. It's handled by a company. Really, your overhead is so small that you can afford it even with your current income. Which is kind of like aerosol emissions license and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to cover that. Yeah, there's a licensing expense. Unfortunately, California and most federal organizations, they want a little bit on your money. The California Department of Insurance need a license for you to sell anything that related to insurance. It's about $170 every 2 years. That's it. Not $1 million, And then you might have the only recurring income you have here is something called errors and omissions, which is kind of like a malpractice insurance that doctors have, in case that they cut too much of your liver off, and you die. Oh, sorry, insurance company pays. Something like that. We're forced to do that. At the beginning, for new associate, it's free. And then later on, you pay it, but it's deducted from your paycheck. And the most I pay on that is about $120 a month, which is ridiculous for running a business that pays you thousands of dollars. That's all. You want an office? You can have an office. You don't need, you can work from home. I work from home many times in my pajamas on my computer. Hey, why not? You can do that. It's super flexible and you can still make very good income. Cool? If any more questions, put in here. So who has a pencil? I'm going to put this kind of like filling in. Who doesn't have something to write on? Let me know and I'll give you a very expensive pencil that I showed you in my demonstration. Victor, Adriana, you guys speak Spanish?
Yes.
That's cool, man. That's more money. I'm telling you. Speaking another language is always more. Sorry, Ken. Oh, sorry, I was gonna. Oh, you good? Perfect. Thank you. You're immediately hired for helping me out. You have already? Oh,
I'm
you
not
do?
sure yet. I have to think about it.
That's all right. Self-motivation right there. Cool. Anyway.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for help. You got one? Yeah. Yeah, please don't take it home because these are very expensive. They're gold coated, and you know that they're super high tech. They even work upside down. You can write in the ceiling and still works. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I'll give you a few minutes to finish that. And I'm going to call in the people that invited you. Hopefully your time wasn't a total waste. You go home with some information. And I'm telling you, I'm begging you, give yourself a chance. That's all I'm going to say. Give yourself a chance. Cool? Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
amazing stuff, huh?
So you guys think you
Let's go to Mark over here.
Jay, I'm gonna have you come and sit down with my husband. So I do have another guest that I'm gonna sit down with as well. So I'll have you come. Did you meet my husband yet?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Was it fair thing to do?
I'm the first.
Come on. I'll be right back.
I'll be right with you. Go.
Okay. Come to me.
Pencil back real quick.
Superman, how you doing?
What's going on?
Have a seat.
Hey, if you put in the notes that I was the best presenter tonight, you might have even
So do you hear? Yes, I got you. I got you.
You want some bread?